We are back again, ladies and gentlemen. We are with Slayton. We are with Mick. We have one of the most anticipated shows that we've been asked about. Hey, guys, can you help us out with those deep round sleepers? We got rookie drafts going on right now. And of course, everybody knows, okay, first round, second round, man, we've got that covered, right? We all kind of know the chalk picks there, who's supposed to be taken there. That's never been an issue. But it's when we get deeper into the round 3, round 4, round 5, some of you crazy people out there are going 6 and 7 rounds deep. You keep that, miss me with that. But tonight we are going to focus on rounds 3, 4, and 5. We are going to try and hit those main players that we really like, and we're going to be targeting that we think can produce for you sooner and later. So we are going to hit that, and hopefully this helps you out. If you have a question about some of these players, hit us up. Hit us up in the comments. Ask us your questions, and we'll get with you on that one. So what we're doing tonight, we're gonna have Mick start us off. So we're gonna be starting third round. Okay. So 301, 512. Brother Mick, who you got? Who is your first late round sleeper, brother?
My first late round sleeper is going to be with an asterisk, and we talked about him last time, and it is Bhayshul Tuten. The asterisk being is when the draft came around and rookie drafts were right after the NFL draft. Bhayshul was going mid-second round, late second round, but after that fumble, his ADP is dropping, and he's dropping into the third round now. So basically, you're getting some value just on a fumble. And the reason why I like Bhayshul is because I swing like ultimate upside. So when I'm getting to the 302 to the 305, if I've got a guy like Tuten there, I love it because who else are you drafting there? Like the tight ends, who I like, but okay, maybe like a Jack Bech is there. And what Jack Bech, I like him too, but what is he realistically? Mostly like a wide receiver 4, 3. He's going to be on your bench. He's going to fill in. If Bhayshul Tuten, if Travis Etienne rolls his ankle and Bhayshul Tuten is named the starter, you're putting him in your lineup and you're getting 10 to 20 points from him like that. So that's why I like going for upside guys like that. What do you guys think?
Man, I like that, dude. That's good.
He's got the high upside. He's got a good path to being able to get on the field. I think with Liam Cohen coming into town, he's going to be quite an upgrade at coach there for sure. So that's definitely something that I want to keep my eye on. I know that Tank Bigsby's not really a whole lot of a threat, and I know that Etienne's not a crazy threat, but at the same time, I do believe that both of them would be, a little bit of a path to get over, but I could definitely see if an injury breaks right or anything like that, that we're not going to have any issues getting them out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that ETN is ahead of him and Tank Bigsby is ahead of him, but like you talked about Slayton, Liam Cohen coming in. I mean, who knows how much influence he had on this pick, and who knows how much that he's really going to involve Tuten. We don't know. I've been a proponent of Travis Etienne. I've been a proponent of Tank Bigsby as well. So this backfield just got way better. I mean, now you could have a 3-headed monster on top of 2 really solid guys. So, but Slate. So who's going to be our first? Who's going to be your first deep round sleeper?
So with most of my leagues and other leagues that I've done mock drafts with and that type of stuff, I've seen that one of these 3 QBs fall. It's either Shedeur Sanders, Tyler Shaw, or Milroe. And I would be happy as all get out to get any of those guys in the third round, knowing that just on name value alone, once they step onto that field, that you're going to be able to double your profit of what you put into it. So with them, it's a great dart throw, especially if you have a roster that is needing a QB, not right away, but like you got a Matthew Stafford, you got Dak Prescott, or somebody that's kind of a dying asset that you'd be able to kind of get an insurance policy or something of that nature. But I definitely think that would be a great route to either do a quick sell or to kind of maybe do a little stash, because they're not absolutely terrible between the 3 of them, and they all have very high upside.
Yeah, I like Milrow a lot. I think his athleticism is just insane. Now, understanding that they did sign Darnold, who had a really really good showing in Minnesota. Yeah, it took him a long time to go ahead and break out, but this wouldn't be the first time. Actually, ironically, in the same city, the same organization where they just paid a perennial backup big money, and the rookie could come in and take the job, as we saw with Matt Flynn, and then Russell Wilson took over. Who was like I believe like a third rounder out of Wisconsin, if I remember correctly. But yeah, he wasn't like a huge prospect. No, they just liked him better in camp. Pete Carroll just liked him better. So yeah, I mean, never a bad risk to take somebody like a Milrow. So I'm with you on that one. I think that's a great pick. Even if you got to hold them for a year or two. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about Dynasty, man, is that you can hold
Basically,
them.
putting a lot of the times. A lot of the times, the third rounders, they're forgotten picks and they're kind of throwaways into trades and that type of stuff. And if you're able to get somebody that potentially down the road could be worth a first or could be worth a high second, count me in, man.
Yeah, for sure. Just like you said, like if he starts, and if you really don't like believe in him, but you want to just sell for that name value, then hey, sell to the highest bidder at that point, Or if he's on your taxi, he's not really hurting you. But all right, so I battled right here with my first one, looking at who could be falling to that 301 to like 305 area, and there was a lot of names I really really liked, and
Right.
one that I fell on that I believe you could fall into third round. I believe so. It's Dylan Sampson,
Mm-hmm.
who is now the backup to Quinshon Judkins. And a lot of people are saying, okay, this could be a 1A, 1B kind of back. I don't believe that for a second. I don't. Quinshon Judkins is too insanely gifted. But with that being said, so is Dylan Sampson. And I believe for this reason that he could be a great late round sleeper is because if something were to happen to Quinshon Judkins, then Dylan Sampson would step in to that top tier role. I mean, this is going to be a predominantly running team especially with both of those guys there. So Dylan Sampson is going to come in and he's not going to be forgotten. It's not just going to be the Quinshon Judkins show, then just only him, right? They're not going to do that. They didn't do that. They didn't take both these guys for that reason. But even if he is splitting carries, I mean, he's still going to give you enough production to justify, rostering him even on your taxi squad. But again, same thing with Milrow. If you don't believe in him, as soon as he gets that starting job, if Quinshon Judkins misses like 2 or 3 weeks and there's a contender out there that can't afford to be down a running back, boom, you just flipped a third round pick for, a second, early second, something like that, I believe Dylan Sampson could do that. So, but that's just me. What do y'all think?
I like it. I like it. Dylan Sampson, I mean, like we said before all these rookies came out, we were putting grades on all these rookies, and he, along with probably Devin Neal, was the RB5, RB6, right? And he went in the same round as Tootin and Scadaboo, and those guys are ranked way ahead of him. And why? I mean, he led the SEC in rushing, and he's, you know how old he is? He's like the youngest back in this class. So you can put him on your taxi, and he's only 20 or 20, like he's young. So he's got a good pathway, and definitely he's the type of rusher that if Judkins does go down, he's probably the best handcuff in this class in terms of upside.
Yeah, totally. Well, so Mick, since you got the mic here, brother, what do you got next? Who is your next deep sleeper round 3 through 5?
All right, I'm going to hit the running backs again because that is the bread and butter of this class. And mine is Taj Brooks. I love Taj Brooks. He arguably is one of the best in between the tackle runners in this class. And he had back-to-back 1,500-yard rushing seasons. And for some reason, in my rookie drafts, he's going in the middle of the 4th to the early 5th. And you're talking about a guy that's
Wow.
You're talking about the guy that's on the Bengals offense, and we can agree that Zach Moss with his neck injury might get some play, but I think Taj Brooks is going to settle into that RB2 role. Am I right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So how are we getting the RB2 in the Bengals offense in the late 4th round of our rookie draft? And he rushed for back-to-back 1,500 yards. So if something were to happen to Chase Brown, who isn't the biggest guy, Taj Brooks is in line to carry that workload, and he's going to be a smash. Like everyone, he's going to be a huge DFS play if Chase Brown goes down. So my number 2 is Taj Brooks.
Very nice.
All right, what about you, Slade?
Mine, I couldn't come up with a sure winner for me on these two, so I kind of just went with 2 here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Restrepo. I'm very intrigued with him. He definitely was highly touted coming out, and I think that he just walked his 40, and that's what killed him. He's going to go play with his old college quarterback. You see all the film that's coming out from like mini camps and training camps and that type of stuff. He looks good. You know, I don't think that he's going to beat you with speed by any means. He's a big body guy to begin with. But just the familiarity with the quarterback and that type of stuff, I think that's going to be miles ahead for him. And then my other guy there is going to be Ollie Gordon. You know, he was kind of a darling for a long time there. Got himself into some trouble and got himself into some dumb stuff. And he kind of fell off planet Earth, but his numbers still stayed pretty relevant. And that's one thing that I've noticed with him is like, you know, he still did phenomenal over his seasons there in Oklahoma State. And whenever you look into the backfield there in Miami, you have 2 guys that do the exact same thing, and then you have Ollie Gordon that's the outlier. And typically in those types of situations, he's going to be the bruiser back, and the other 2 are going to be, you know, the kind of change of pace and that type of stuff. So he's somebody that I'm very inspired by. He runs with a lot of vigor and that type of stuff. So I think that he's going to be a lot of fun to watch if he's given the chance to see the field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was a huge fan of Ollie Gordon. I loved watching him.
I mean,
it was amazing.
Prospects. I loved him and Harvey were my 2. Like I couldn't stop raving about them, and it breaks my heart that you know Ollie didn't get quite the draft capital that I wanted. Yeah. But I think in the position that he is, he really doesn't have much of a hill to climb past like Jalen Wright, you know,
who in his own right, no pun intended, is a really good running back.
He is.
So Miami has a nasty backfield. I mean, it's ridiculous. Miami's just building a monster there. I like where you went with Xavier Restrepo. He was going to be my next one as well. To piggyback off what you said about that chemistry, you can't sit there and think that that's nothing. A quarterback and his receiver, I mean, that's a bond. That's like a pitcher and his catcher. Like you can't beat that. If you can go ahead and get Restrepo for essentially free, then bro, you do that. You get your first overall quarterback, your new franchise guy. You get his college receiver, his favorite college receiver. You know, I mean, outside of Arroyo, right? But you know, that wasn't an option. But dude, I mean, I'm with you. I think Restrepo's a steal here, and I couldn't agree more.
He's going in the 5th round of rookie drafts or undrafted.
You know, but like, what's the real difference between the 2? Like, I think that you could get Restrepo way later, and he has just as much chance to be a little bit better of a receiver there for Cameron. I don't know. Maybe I'm digging into it a little bit more, but I see that they have the chemistry. They had, you know, every bit of the right of, you know, records there in Miami. So, like, I really think him going back home to something that's familiar and that type of stuff, that thrive. And
you see every year that, you know, the fastest receiver isn't always the best one in the class.
Yeah.
You know, speed in cleats, I mean, in track shoes is way different than speed with pads on. You know, so that's why like they need to have some of these drills where these guys actually have like a helmet and shoulder pads on at the very least, right? But because there's game speed and then there's track speed. And okay, I get it. Restrepo wasn't very fast. Oh well, I'm not going to hold it against the kid. You know, he ran clean routes in college. He did very well in college. I ain't gonna hold it against him. And he's with his college quarterback. Bro, that right there bumps you up in the depth chart because now they're saying, okay, Ward, who do you want? Who's he gonna say? Restrepo. He's gonna say, give me my guy.
He was the one that put the nod in for him. You know, they asked us to go get this guy, and he said, yeah. So I mean,
yeah, you don't think Cam Ward's on the phone with Xavier Restrepo? Say, hey, bro, let's run it back. Come with us. You know, like, come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm for that, man. I'm with you on that.
I'm with you.
What do you think about the Restrepo? Yeah,
I'm with you because I'm not going to comp him to Jarvis Landry, but he ran the same 40 as Jarvis Landry. He has the same game as Jarvis Landry. He's in and out. He runs the slot. He's a good route runner. So, I mean, he's probably not going to be Jarvis Landry, but he's comp to him. So there's something there.
Yeah, I mean that. And if the experts, you know, the so-called experts are saying that, are comping him, you know, then you got to be good. So, all right, I guess it's my turn. So my next late round sleeper, I'm going to go with Jaden Blue, drafted by the Dallas Cowboys, rookie out of Texas, who, man, he's kind of the only one on that team, the only running back on that team that can do what he can do as far as catching the ball, just being that scat back, that open field running back. The Cowboys have added depth at receiver with George Pickens. You know, he's going to be playing opposite of CeeDee Lamb. So they're good there. Jake Ferguson is about as solid and true as a tight end's going to get for them. And then you signed Javonte Williams, who is just great bruiser between the tackles. Really good. Didn't really have that great in Denver, but we'll see what he can do here. But where I think Jaden Blue is going to be a steal for you is because I think Jaden Blue is going to get all the passing work because he has amazing hands. Now, I mean, we're not talking about TreVeyon Henderson hands, but we're in the 3rd and 5th round. I don't think you get a better pass catching running back than Jaden Blue in these late rounds right here. And in PPR, which is the format that most of us play, that's what matters. Points per reception.
Yep, I agree. And he's explosive. He's fast. He's fast as hell. He's one of the fastest running backs in this class. And you could get him in the 3rd round. And he brings something to the table that the other running backs don't. And I think Dak checks down, like we said in the last episode when we were talking about Jaden Blue. He checks down a lot because he doesn't run anymore. So I like it. I like it. And I'm not even
yeah, if I'm Dak, I'm not running ever again after the injury he had. Ever again. I don't even want to walk to my car.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm gonna go with Jaden Blue. What about you, Mick? Who do you got? What's your next guy?
All right, my number 3 guy is a tight end that the Chargers drafted. He goes by the name of Oronde Gadsden. Kind of close to my last name, so I kind of like it. But the reason why I like this guy is because can you guys tell me how many receiving yards he had as a true freshman? Do any of you know?
No.
He had 70 catches and 900 yards as a true freshman. And then
wow.
His sophomore season, he gets hurt, doesn't play. And then his next season, he puts up the exact same stat line. He has 70 catches and over 900 yards as a tight end. And he got drafted in the 5th round. And he's explosive and he's tall. And we're taking Mason Taylor. We're taking Ferguson, Arroyo. Rightfully so. I will draft those guys before Gadsden. But I don't understand why Gadsden is being pushed down to the 5th round or undraftable while he put up 900 yards as a tight end and he's fast. And there's footage of Jim Harbaugh calling him and saying, we drafted you with a purpose. You're going to come catch passes for us. And he's young. He's only 21, whereas most of the other tight ends are like 23, 24 coming out. Put him on your taxi if he doesn't play this year, but the depth chart doesn't scare me. Conklin's solid. He'll probably catch some passes. Disley's a good blocking tight end, but that's all he really is. And then he'll catch some passes, but he always gets hurt. And they don't have anyone else. I mean, we'll see what Trey Harris can do aside from Ladd McConkey. Yeah. So Oronde Gadsden, I think, is a great stash that you could get on waivers or in the 5th round. And most of our leagues are tight end premium now. So I think he is a steal in the 5th round. And no one is talking about this kid that's put up 900 yards in 2 seasons. No one knows this.
Yeah. That's insane. I didn't know that at all. And dude, looking at his competition ahead of him, I mean, he really has no competition if that's the case. So I think that's probably so far that's probably the best late round steal right there that you can get. All right, Slayton, feed us another one.
So my next one you're probably going to be down on, but I like Thornton Jr. So Thornton Jr., who went to Las Vegas. So if you look at Jack Bech and you look at Jacoby Myers, they're very close to the same in like the route tree, what they run, how they are, their body size, that type of stuff. Where Thornton's more of your stretch the field, down the field type of guy. Ryan, I believe he ran a 4.3, 22 years old. Came out of Tennessee, so I know that he did play some quality opponents and that type of stuff. So I think that he's one of those guys that everybody else in the offense does the exact same thing, and he's the outlier. He does something different. And, maybe that makes him see the field a little bit more than what you would think Jack Bech does. No one knows, but at the same time, I know that Gino likes to throw a long ball. So somebody who's out there stretching the field and has, 4.3 speed, who's to say that he's not a good little stash play late for you?
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good name that a lot of people won't know. And that's good. That's exactly what we're here for, is to put out those names that nobody's going to know, that everybody wants to talk about all the big names. That's awesome, man. That's a great draft.
I got a good stat for you on Dont'e Thornton that I actually heard. I'll give credit to someone else today, but I was listening to a podcast, and there's only 2 wide receivers that have been, I think, how tall is Dont'e Thornton? Is he 6'5"?
Yeah.
He's pretty tall, right? So there's two receivers that have run a 4.3 and are 6'5". Can you name the other one besides Dont'e Thornton?
How about Julio Jones? He was pretty tall, right?
Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson.
Oh, how'd I miss that one? Megatron.
So I heard that today, and that kind of caught my ears. And I already had my 5 picked out, but Dont'e Thornton was kind of there. I think he'd be more of a best ball, and I'm a big underdog guy, so I do play that, and I will be drafting a lot of Dont'e Thornton, putting him as my wide receiver 8 just for those big spike weeks, and I think he can deliver.
He's sneaky.
Hey, perfect.
I don't hear a lot of people rumbling, and I did find 1 or 2 guys that are kind of deep in there that do a lot of deep drafting and that type of stuff that, mentioned them, and they kind of had that same sentiment of like, hey, this guy is somebody that does something different on the field than the other 2. So definitely excited to see where that goes and kind of rooting for him to get a little bit more play time than average.
Yeah, 100%. So, all right. So I guess I'm up here. So I'm going to stick with the running back position here. I'm going to go with Devin Neal out of New Orleans. Or I guess out of Kansas, but now with New Orleans. You can probably look for Devin Neal and probably like the late 3rd, maybe early 4th, depending on, of course, depending on your league and team needs and all that stuff like that. But so you got Kellen Moore coming in, and who runs a really, really fun offense. I loved what he did in Dallas. I thought they should have never let him walk out of there. I loved what he did with the Chargers. Kellen Moore just understands how to run a good offense, which doesn't surprise me, being a former quarterback for Boise State. Boise State always seems to have like a fun offense. So with that being said, I think with Kamara kind of being, the elder statesman there, who still has some juice. I'm not knocking Alvin Kamara at all. He still has some juice. But with the young legs who can catch passes just like Kamara, which is where he made his money. And Devin Neal was a Debbie darling, as we like to say. Devin Neal was a stud. He was one of these running backs that everybody wanted a piece of. And I think the Saints just got a smoking deal on Devin Neal. And if you take Devin Neal anywhere in the late 3rd, I think you're stealing him. If you get him in the 4th, the 5th, you don't think about it. if he's there when you pick in the 4th round, you don't think about it. You take Devin Neal.
He's there in the 4th every time too, Justin. He's not going in the 3rd. I mean, it's a pick your poison kind of draft once you get there, but I have not seen him go in the 3rd. I see him going in the mid 4s, late 4s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and like I said, if you can get him in, if you can get him in 3rd, dude, reach. If you think he 100% is going to fall to the 4th, reach. It doesn't. You will reap the benefits of it drastically, I believe. But yeah, I'm excited to see what Devin Neal can do with Kellen Moore offense, especially since that Saints offense doesn't really have anybody outside of Kamara and Olave. Like there's not really anybody to speak of. So I'm pretty excited about that. All right. So next up.
All right, my number 4 guy is going to be really deep. This guy is going undrafted, and you get him on waivers. I just had a rookie draft conclude, and I got him on waivers for $9. His name is Ricky White. Have you guys ever heard of him?
I think you mentioned him on the last show. I was actually pretty excited to hear your take on him.
Ricky White, he's my number 4, and you can get him, like I said, undrafted off waivers. And I'll tell you why I like Ricky White. He went to the Seahawks, who they got JSN, and then Cooper Kupp, who maybe has seen his last days, and then I can't name anyone else on that roster. Another reason why I like Ricky White is he's 6'1", 190. That is the prototypical size that the NFL is looking at now. They're not going to these 6'4", 6'5" outside clashers. They like these guys that are 6'1" that get separation, right?
Yep.
Another reason why I like Ricky White is in his freshman campaign, he put up he broke out already at freshman. He had 50 catches for 600 yards. That's pretty dang good for a freshman. His next season, get this, he had 90 catches for almost 1,500 yards as a sophomore. Ooh. Ricky White, no one's talking about this guy. And then his last season, the offense was worse, so his production dipped down, but he still had over 1,000 yards, and he had a 40% target share on the team. So the guy earns targets. He's good. Oh. And he runs under a 4.5. He runs a 4.49, so that's plenty fast enough. He's got the prototypical build, and he's put up college production. So I think he's a late round. Throw him on your taxi. Get him for $2 on your waivers when your rookie draft concludes. And the worst is, he doesn't make the team and you cut him, but you only spend $2 a fab and hopefully you got one extra taxi. That's why I like Ricky White.
So cheap. You can't beat those cheap guys like that.
Gives me Dontavian Wicks vibes. He was going undrafted and we were picking him up off waivers, and he didn't pan out, but at times I saw him go for a 2nd and a 3rd in the league. It's like highway robbery if you can get a 2nd and a 3rd for a guy that you pick up off of waivers and he flashes for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, and he did enough, like a guy like that Dontavian Wicks I'm talking about. He did enough to where people are still holding on to that, you know. And if there's people out there, then dude, who's to say you can't take that Ricky White, that $2 investment, and then flip him? Because even if you get a 4th round pick for Ricky White, like boom, you've already made your money on it.
Exactly.
All right, Slade, who do you got? Who's your next one?
My final one that I got for you guys tonight, this one's pretty gross, but we're going to roll with Isaiah Bond, man. Planet Earth, nobody's talking about him. He was a 2nd-round talent, maybe even a 1st-round talent. Got himself into some trouble and, nowhere to be found, but nobody's really paying attention to his cases. Nobody's really paying attention to nothing on that, but to throw...
We are here on Kingmaker Sports. We are.
Fab on him, sit him on your taxi for maybe a year and let stuff clear up and let a coach take a shot on him. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised with what you get. And it's one of those names that as soon as you hear it and they step on the field, it's going to triple in value. So that is one guy that I've been keeping a pretty close eye on, and any draft that I've already drafted, I've went back and I've taken him at $0 or $1 when everybody's fighting over Dylan Sampson and whoever else is left on waivers after a 3-round or a 4-round. Here I am taking Isaiah Bond for literally nothing, and he's probably the best candidate out of all those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I literally hustled for hours, man, like in this rookie draft that we just finished up to get Isaiah Bond at 507. Because I knew, like, okay, I'm not going to wait and try and play the waiver game because there's people out there like you two that know these guys, know what's going on, because like his legal issues, like everything that it looks like maybe he was falsely accused. Now, we're not here to say, who did what, but the way it looks, after all this stuff came out, and of course, anything like that's going to kill your draft stock, going to kill it no matter what. So one, the kid's already losing stuff, but he comes out and files, like, I guess a federal, like, false statement kind of thing like that, like saying this is not true. Like, everything he's doing makes it look like, okay, maybe the kid is innocent. And as soon as this stuff gets cleared, hopefully before training camp, and they sign him, then as soon as he gets signed, like, boom, that value's through the roof, because now it's like, okay, this kid's actually going to play football now. And like you said, like, he was a second round, if not a first round talent. Dude, I don't understand how people aren't taking a risk on this, especially in a fifth round pick, which essentially, when you're negotiating with people, like, oh, a fifth round pick doesn't do anything for me. Bro, I just got Isaiah Bond at the 507. And if that dude steps on the field, I look like a genius, right?
So easy.
Yeah, and this guy's talented enough, he could take over a starting job from people.
I'm in for it. Yeah.
Me too. I like it, especially because he's so cheap, and he was once thought of as a first or second round rookie pick not too long ago.
Yeah. I mean, heck, just to further prove a point, like when we talked about Restrepo earlier, I ended up him getting 509 in that same draft.
Mm-hmm.
So, dude, these guys that can be starters, give it a handful of weeks, right? Because they're going to sit on my taxi squad, right? And that's what they should do for now until they actually have that consistent production. But the people that we're talking about here on this episode, these are the guys that you can get for $2, like Mick said. You can get for free, like Slayton said. Like, take a chance on these guys. It costs you nothing. A fourth and fifth round pick, really, like, the hit rate on that is so microscopic. So it doesn't hurt you to just take that risk, especially on a Restrepo or a Bond. I mean,
loaded risk. I feel like all the marbles are on my side of the table for that. And those are risks that you want to bet on, because at the end of the day, I could bet on somebody that's got severe injuries, or I could bet on somebody that's got legal trouble. I mean, at the end of the day, I'd much rather have somebody that's got legal trouble and questions of that and sell whenever.
Yeah. Like, okay, so the last guy, I guess we're on the last guys now. So my last guy, I'm actually going to stay with Tennessee, and kind of stay with the University of Texas, I guess, a little bit. And this is not like this wasn't planned. This just kind of happened this way. It's Gunnar Helm. Anybody who watched any Texas Longhorns football games saw how Gunnar Helm changed that offense. I mean, yes, I get it. They had Matthew Golden, they had Isaiah Bond, they had Jaden Blue, these guys that we like talking about. But Gunnar Helm proved what he could do with a lackluster quarterback in Quinn Ewers, who, man, just didn't really have it there. And he used Gunnar Helm as his safety blanket, and it paid off. Gunnar Helm was breaking tackles. He's a massive individual. I mean, Gunnar Helm could easily start to split carries with Chigakonkwo and then eventually take over. I think people are sleeping on Gunnar Helm and how athletic he is, especially in tight end premium. Now, of course, I get it, regular PPR leagues, non-tight end premium. Okay, maybe pass on Gunnar Helm until he actually does anything. I get it. But in tight end premium, I don't think you can afford to not take Gunnar Helm in at least a fifth. And if he's available on waivers, spend a couple bucks on him, see what it's going to do. I mean, worst case scenario, you wasted a couple bucks. Worst case scenario, you wasted a fifth round pick. Best case scenario, Gunnar Helm is a red zone monster, for Cam Ward, a young quarterback, because let's not forget, the best friend of a young rookie quarterback is the tight end. So who better than this monster of an individual who's a freak athlete who I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think this is the closest comp to Travis Kelce. I'm going to say it, but I believe in Gunnar Helm.
I like it. I like the upside. I like that Chig Okonkwo doesn't do anything for me. He's kind of proven that he's just a small tight end that's a catching tight end, and he doesn't do much. He's had his chance, so I could see Gunnar Helm taking over. I think Gunnar Helm is getting penalized because he ran a slow 40. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
And
yep.
So that's why he dropped, because in the discussion before the combine, he was regarded. He was up there with the Mason Taylors and stuff. He was up with all them guys, but then he ran the slow 40, and then of course, like everybody else, if you run slow, you get dropped down like Restrepo. And that's not
makes no sense.
And especially, I mean, you do want your tight end. I've seen that they want the elite tight ends have the high RAS scores, but from what I believe is Gunnar Helm hurt himself during the combine, but he still pushed through. So
he still ran decent for a tight end with a pulled hamstring that he pulled that day.
Exactly.
I think it was a hamstring or quad, something like that. But still, like, dude, to not cop out and to say, no, I'm doing this. Like, because how easy would it be to say, oh, I'm hurt, I'm not doing it. Like, no. This man went in there and, I mean, he manned up and did it. I'm not holding it against him because I think that 40 time is unofficial because he was hurt.
Right.
But we've all seen, and now that Texas and the SEC, they're getting these primetime games. So you're actually seeing him produce against bigger schools like a Georgia, your Alabamas, things like that, teams like that. Dude, man, like I think people are looking at that 40 time and that low draft and all that stuff like that, and I think they're messing up.
They are. Well said.
So,
all right, my last guy was going to be Ollie Gordon, but that's already taken. So I'm going to pivot right here, and I'm going to give you something because I mean I do agree with Ollie Gordon, 1,700 rushing yards when 2 years ago. I mean that's not a fluke. The dude's a beast. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to draft him as much as I can, but I'm going to pivot. This one's not sexy at all, but I'm going to go with Khalil Mullings. He's the running back that the Tennessee Titans drafted. Mm-hmm. And Pollard's no spring chicken. He could get hurt. He's one injury away. He has been getting hurt. He's not used to the heavy workloads. Tajay Spears is more of a catch passing back. And again, as you see the guys I'm targeting in this episode, besides for Tootin, Mullins is free. He's not getting drafted, so he's going to be off waivers. You're going to pick him up for $1, $2. And these types of running backs, I found if you put them on your taxi and just let them sit, something always happens to these other running backs ahead of them. And it's just like that. If you get an opportunity to have an opportunity, he gets put in day one and he starts
53, man.
Turning out
back on 53.
Mm-hmm. He's good. I mean, he had some good rushing production. He's not slow. His closest comp is to Hassan Haskins. So, and Hassan Haskins had some run. He didn't really pan out. But again, there's no really big depth chart in front of him. I don't think Julius Chestnut has carved out a role. He's had his ample opportunity, so he's nothing. So he's going to be next on the pecking order. And if they cut him, then you cut him. It's as simple as that. But he's worth a dart throw for $1 a fab on your first round of waivers.
Yeah, for sure. And another name that a lot of people aren't going to recognize. And it's good that you brought those numbers up because some people aren't even going to watch the film on that. They're just going to be like, okay, this guy's not really going to pan out or anything like that. But I mean, the Titans they don't have a lot of threat like you were talking about. So I love that. I think you make very, very good points on that. Mm-hmm. So Slayton, you got an honorable mention?
If anybody, probably Kyle Kuminga, the running back that plays for the Bears, with J.K. Dobbins not going there and Nick Chubb not going there. Both of them were linked there to the Bears. He seems to be the biggest guy out of those running backs. He seems to be more of like your bruiser type, your goal line back. kind of like theme that I've been going with this whole episode is he's the different guy of the backfield, or everybody else does something the same and he does something different. And I think it speaks volumes that they passed on a Nick Chubb, they passed on a J.K. Dobbins, who kind of fits that role when they were linked to him. So it means to tell me that there's something in camp that they look to hold on to.
Yeah, Kyle Monangai, he was going to be on my list too. I thought one of you guys would have taken him, but he's definitely another sleeper. He's definitely another sleeper because Roschon, as much as I love him, I hope he pans out because I have him on a couple rosters. He might not, and Monangai is next up, and he's going to be a running back for Ben Johnson. So another guy you can get and draft in the 4th round. I really like Kyle Monangai.
Yeah, for sure. There's not much competition on that roster, so you could see him earlier than later for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if I had an honorable mention, I'd probably it may be kind of weird, but I'm gonna go with a handcuff here that I've watched all the film on, and like every time I watched another game, I'm just like, wow, this kid's amazing. It's Jordan James, the rookie that the 49ers drafted.
Mm-hmm.
And the path to touches is not far away. And the reason I say that, no matter how good that every training camp or beginning of the season gets, where we're like, okay, Christian McCaffrey looks good this time. You know, it's Christian McCaffrey. He always seems to get hurt. And then we always want those 49ers running backs, right? So one, he fits this offense perfect. I mean, this is about a Kyle Shanahan running back if I've ever seen one. Mm-hmm. And he's not sexy. He's not a sexy name, nothing like that. But I can't tell you how much I really, really enjoyed watching his film. I loved it so much. Like I'm not joking. Every game that I watched, I was like, dang, dude, this kid can cut, this kid can catch, like everything. So I'm in on Jordan James if I can get him. You know, obviously I got some rosters where I got too much at that position and I don't want to flood it. But man, if you can, like, and especially if you're the Christian McCaffrey owner, go get Jordan James for free. You know, even if you got to pay like a late 5th or whatever to get him, go get Jordan James. Like I'm telling you, if you are the McCaffrey owner, you will not be mad at this. You will come thanking us.
Agreed. I like Jordan James a lot. I think that's a great pick because I made the mistake last year of not getting Garendo. I thought, Garendo's got no shot. I'm not going to draft him. And sure as shit, like every single 49ers running back and backfield, one of those guys has a starting game and you know when to start them and they put up 15 to 20 points. And Jordan James is going to be no different. I like it a lot, Justin.
What's crazy to me is that, like, with the 49ers, they seem to start, like, 4 or 5 running backs a season.
Yeah.
Like, it's just always a carousel. And, like, whoever it is that week is, like, the hot hand, and they really don't use anybody else. So, you know they're going to be fed, like, extremely well. So, definitely like that call out there for Jordan James.
Yeah, I mean, and no more Debo in town, so they gotta adjust their offense somehow. And they didn't bring in a new Debo, so you know that's why I feel like they're gonna lean a little bit more on Kittle. You know, use the running backs more out of the backfield, things like that. So
when in doubt, draft some 49ers running backs, and all you it never goes wrong.
No, even old Raheem Mostert. I mean, should be good.
TDP was the only one that didn't pan out.
Yeah. I remember our cousin was huge on TDP too. But that was the one. I think his motto was, like you said, like just draft all the 49ers running backs. Every year, that was his motto. So, but hopefully this has been insightful for a lot of you out there. A lot of names that people don't know about that can potentially get you some points or increase in value. You know, even if you're getting these guys for free, trading them for draft picks, boom, there you go, making a profit. You know, making your team better any way you can. So once again, we're watching the film on these guys to help you all out. So that way, you know, look, you got jobs, you're busy, you know, you don't have time to sit around and watch film and stuff like that. You know, we're willing to do that for you. So hopefully this helps out. We got a lot of rookie drafts coming up right now and going on. Mick was talking about he had one that just finished up. I had one just finished up. So, so keep coming back. We're going to have more of these. We'll put out the next, we'll schedule out the next live episode and see where we go from here. But from everybody here at Kingmaker Sports, Mick, Slayton, myself, we thank you for watching. Don't forget, if you've been here this long, go ahead and subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell so that way you know when we come on and we're live. So we will see you later and see you on the next one.